Make sure I'm added to the screen. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to another NBA Prize Picks Player Props live stream. It is me, Chavez, and I am back. We are back with another day, another stream, more player props, a brand new week to kick off Bankroll Builder this week, starting off today. Our two pick power in the Discord. I'm going to go over a couple plays that I also like. In addition to that two pick power, talk about some injury news, and then we'll take some Q&A. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. Hope this stream finds you all in good spirits. Hope your weekend was good. If you had a dog in any of the playoff fights this weekend, I hope your team did well. My team did not. I don't want to say it was fully expected, but all good things do come. Texans run is officially over. AFC division champs, divisional round lost to the outstanding Baltimore Ravens. What a strong team. Very difficult to see that team beating themselves. You're going to have to really bring your A game against the Ravens. If anybody can do it, it's Patrick Mahomes. So this should be a really good AFC championship. And surprising Lions making it to the NFC championship, taking on the 49ers. I would love nothing more than to see the Lions make it to the Super Bowl. What a 0 to 100 type of story that is in Detroit. But we got a lot of football next week to talk about. But today, we're talking NBA player props. So again, welcome into the stream. Hit that like button on your way in. Really does help the channel out a lot. I don't understand how it helps the channel out exactly. I know it just boosts the algorithms and it puts me in front of more people. The exposure widens and it gets greater. But I don't know all the technical stuff behind the scenes. But likes are good. Comments are good. Subs are good. So let's keep the good vibes rolling. Maurice, good morning to you. Let's get it kicked off. Let's get the week kicked off to a strong start. I believe that is a great attitude, great outlook. Toy Story, Andy, what's going on, fam? Packers lost this weekend, had a good weekend in terms of player props. Good to hear. I say this, if your team lost this weekend, but your money didn't lose, pretty good weekend, right? Pretty good weekend. Way to balance it out, you know? So, could be worse. Could have bet your house. Could put your car up. Your kid's college tuition. That's the stuff that books are made out of. Write a story about somebody who lost their house to player props. That's a real thing. Got the coffee. Got it in a mug today. Not the paper cup. Got it in a mug today. Probably going to get cold faster, but ceramic mug feels, it's warm, it's hot, it's cold in Austin, so it definitely works to have a hot cup, if only for a few minutes. So we got some player props to talk about. All right, we got a recap to talk about from Friday. We'll get into that. Just because a few days passed doesn't mean I forgot about the past, so we'll quickly recap the two plays from Friday. Nothing to dig too deep on there. Darrell, what's going on? Good morning to you, Raven Nation. That's right. Gilbert Garza says lost to DFS, but cash and props. There you go, man. DFS as the schedule gets tighter and the teams lessen, it's really hard to find that edge. You know, you got to start. I mean, you're going to pick a lot of the same player props, that a lot of the same players that other players. You know, I'm sure that Lamar Jackson was probably the most played quarterback in DFS this weekend because, or maybe Jared Goff, but Jared Goff did not have a huge game. Baker Mayfield had a stronger game than Jared Goff, but it's hard to find an edge is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it gets increasingly more difficult to win. Like the playoffs roll on, still fun. Player props, you don't have to worry about finding an edge because the lines are the same for everybody. So I'm glad you won something today or this weekend. Big Icy Grand Rising, everybody. I love that. I love that intro. I love that motto, saying, mindset. Coffee is a must. I know what? I tend to drink it faster out of a mug. Bigger sips and shit. This should be gone pretty quickly. All right. Let's do it. Let's get this going. We got 19 people in the stream right now. Hit that like 20. Hit that like button on your way in. Means a lot to me, means a lot to the channel. Help it grow. Be a provider of life and help the channel grow. All right. Let's get into the bankroll builder very quickly. So we talked about this a couple of times last week. It starts today. There's no sign up sheet. There's no fee to join. It's free. It's up to you. I think it'll be fun. So starting today, looking at that account you have on Prizepicks or Underdog or wherever you're playing, you got $100 in that account now. You want to add another 100. You want to, make a quick deposit, and this is what you're working with for the next month. Determine that entry size or unit size. Make it consistent. $5 entries is the minimum on Prizepicks. Figure out what's going to help you sustain that bankroll. Definitely not going to be $50 entries. Obviously, the bigger initial bankroll you have, the more entries you can make, or the larger entry size you can create. But you got to think 2 steps ahead here. We're trying to save and build. Only play what you can afford to lose. Got $100 in your bankroll right now. You're definitely not putting $100 on your first entry. You can get lucky. We're not trying to get lucky. We're trying to be smart. So only play what you can afford to lose. Remember, we're trying to limit the amount of times we deposit over the next 30 days. We want to increase the amount of withdrawals we have. Withdrawals, not withdrawals like, oh, damn, I need that hit. And the frequency of them. Every day, take money out. Pay yourself. Withdraw. You're up a little bit. You're up 15%. You're up 20% from your initial deposit. Take that out. You got an optimizer that you use. You pay for props.cash. Pay yourself. Pay it for the next month. Take that money out. That way, you're already making that money work for you. And then lastly, you're in control. You're in control of all your money. You're in control of all your player props. If I have a player prop that doesn't make sense to you, don't play it. Totally up to you. We're always in control of our money. We're always in control of our slips. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. Those are my 4 guidelines for the bankroll buildup. And that's what we're going to roll with. Can't wait to hear stories this week, this month about everybody's bankroll increasing. Being smarter with our slips, not chasing losses. It all helps us sustain long-term profitability. So, bankroll builder. There you go. Moving on. Friday. Let's talk quickly about 2 plays that I talked about on Friday. 1-1 on the day. Grayson Allen go over his 3-pointers. Surprisingly, we had LaMelo Ball not hit 14.5 rebounds and assists. LaMelo Ball continues to be a player that I cannot figure out. He went off in the second half, point-wise. But in terms of rebounds and assists, he, despite the odds and projections looking very good and everything pointing up, he did not have the best of days in rebounds and assists. I believe he finished with 10, 9, maybe. I just know he didn't get over. Grayson Allen had a very slow start to the night, and that's what happens when Devin Booker goes off for 52 points. I think Devin Booker scored the first 25 points in that game. No shit. I think he scored the first 25 points for the Suns in that game. But Grayson Allen got his. He got his later on in the game. Helps us go 1-1. Doesn't help us with our slips because we don't get paid off 1-1s on 2 pick powers. But it's a better day than 0-2. So Continuing to struggle with the 2-pick powers. Definitely not happy with that result, but we move on. Nothing more to say about that. It's done. Moved on. I moved on. I bounced back on Sunday, so I'm feeling okay about that. Injury news. Quickly talk about injury news. You got to know what's going on in the NBA. Got to understand what is the hap. So Patrick Beverly questionable. Long list of Q-Tag here. LaMelo Ball, Karis LeVert, Stewart's questionable. Stewart already has player props on the board, so that doesn't mean anything. We've seen players get pulled from the board, but it is a good sign if the player props are already up. Dominic Barlow, that's a Spur, if you weren't aware. Dominic Barlow is a Spur. Zach Collins, Mo Bamba, Tillman, Nick Richards, Seth Curry, and Sasha Vezenkov. Doubtful, we got Cade Cunningham, Monty Morris, and Dante Exum been out. We already know Trae Young and Zach LaVine remain out. Man, the Bulls look so much better without Zach LaVine. The Bulls look really good without Zach LaVine. I don't know what's causing that trade to not happen. Maybe it's just the money. But the Bulls got something without Zach LaVine. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's not a good locker room guy. Maybe he's just checked out. When he's not in the lineup, they do really well. They score more points. They're a better defensive team. When he's in the lineup, they lose close games. They let leads slip. I don't know. How exactly does a rainbow work? It just does. All right. Got 2 plays for you today. I already put these in a 2-pick power. Unfortunately, I already put these in a 2-pick power. I put another 2-pick power in early in the process late last night. Unfortunately, one of those plays was bumped up. So I wanted to create a second power. So looking at Vince Williams Jr., looking at the under on his PRA as the Grizzlies take on the Toronto Raptors tonight. His PRA keeps rising, grand rising. His PRA keeps going up. I know his opportunities are there with all the injuries, but he's not been hitting his PRA, and his lines keep going up. Tillman is questionable today, but I really don't think that matters in terms of his upside. So I like the fact that his line continues to rise, and I will take another shot on his under. Had some success with that a couple of nights ago. We're looking to run it back. Second play you may not like, but I have a case for it. Taking the under. Giannis 51.5 PRA. Bucks just played the Pistons. Had a difficult time putting them away. Giannis didn't come close to hitting this. Well, I shouldn't say didn't come close. Giannis just didn't hit this line. 51.5 needs 52 PRA. 52 PRA is a really number. And it's really possible for Giannis. Think about this. It's very possible for Giannis to put a double and still not hit this line. Like he can go 25, 10, and 10. 20, 10, and 10. 30. He can go 30, 10, and 10 and not hit this line. So I don't think this is too high because we know what his ceiling is. I just think it's not necessary. I don't think 52 is in the cards for him tonight against a Pistons team that they should honestly put away and not let hang around all game like they did last game out. So those are my 2 plays. We'll break those down over on props.cash along with a few of yours. We'll take a group of 5 or 6. We'll head over to props.cash and we'll start breaking some plays down. And just as I was talking about Giannis, his line gets bumped down to 51. So it looks like I wasn't the only one on his under, which does make me feel good. But we've seen the exact opposite happen where players get bumped down and they fucking crush. So hopefully he doesn't come out here and throw up a 60 on the Pistons. A lot of mouths to feed on the Bucks. So the difference. I'll go ahead and clear that. All right, so as you can see, I already had these guys pulled up, ready to roll and talk about some player props. So we'll still look at Giannis's line over on props.cash in case you still had interest in it at the 51 line. And then we'll take a few of your plays. So Ramo, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. Infamous Mel, what's going on? Recapping Friday, and just got through talking about a couple of plays I like for today. That's what we covered. Bankroll builders also we talked about. Mel talked about that as well. Divine Miles, what's going on? Good morning to you. Ray Mall, good morning to you. Big Icy ROK, good morning. ATM. Jalen Rose, what's going on? Porzingis, I just saw that one. Toy Story, awesome. Yeah. All right. Let's do this. We're going to kick things off. We're 18 minutes into the stream. Hit that like button on your way in. Means a ton. 18 minutes in. I think this is the earliest we've gotten started on player props on the stream. What's the first player prop I see? All right, we got the Vine, Scotty points, quickly assist. We'll do Scotty points just to make room for other player props to Vine. We'll do Scotty points. Ivy PRA from Rymal. All right. Scotty points. Jalen Duren. Who'd I miss? Ivy PRA. 31.5. We got Pistons love early in the morning. Rebounds and assist. 12.5. Where are we at? 5, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it took the other two off. I know what they were. Maxey steals play of the day. ROK says Tyrese Maxey over or under. I'm just going to put that in my notes real quick so I don't forget. Over 1.5. If it's under, correct me. But I'm just going to put over for now. If you mean under, just let me know and I'll make the change on my notes. All right. I'll go over my plays again midstream. I realized over the weekend that I get my plays out early in the stream. Like one of the first things we talk about is my 2 picks, and then we move on. So if anybody's joining and they're just like, it's not steals and blocks are okay, it's steals, my bad. If anybody's joining, they're like, what are your picks? You know? So I'll mention those a couple more times throughout the stream, although one of them got bumped, so they're not the same anymore, which kind of sucks. Let's see, Bogdan under PRA, Julian Champagne over PR, Brooke Lopez over PA. I'm going to take the first one, ATM, out of those 3. I'm going to take Bogdan just because it was the first one. Now, I saw Bogdan under getting some love in a few different places that I do research. So you're on that one as well. Jalen says, bro, he can hit that easily. I bet his under last game in loss. He exploded with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Prizepicks is lying on his last 5. I'm assuming you're talking about Giannis or not. Vince? You talking about Vince? Either way, we'll look at them both. But appreciate that comment. All right, so we got 5 players here. We got room for one more. Triple J over. Okay, because you got Maxi in there already. Let's look at Porzingis. We're gonna take one from Toy Story. Let's look at Porzingis. 3-pointers made. Porzingis had a great game yesterday without Holiday and Horford in the lineup. I wish I would have played more of him. I only played him in one slip over on Jock Market. I wish I would have played him everywhere though. My Jock Market slips didn't hit because Amen Thompson, one of the Thompson twins, he went off, and I had the under on his points. Thought Boston would take care of business. I mean, they won, but they didn't like bury him. All right. We got 5 plays. We got Scotty Barn points. We got Ivy, Duran, Maxi over on his steals, Bogdanovich under, and Kristaps on threes. All right. We're headed over to props.cash. No promo slide for props.cash, but if you are interested in using props.cash for your own researching purposes, the promo code to use is thanks25. You get 25% off your first month. It's in the stream description. Very simple. Use that promo code, get money off your first month. It's that easy. All right, first game on the board is Milwaukee and Detroit. We'll talk about a few different players in this game. Let's start with that Giannis PRA prop. And Jalen, whether or not you were talking about Giannis or Vince, the 5-game logs on Prizepicks, yeah, you just like be careful with those 5-game logs on Prizepicks. They are not always accurate. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know whoever's recording that information and presenting it in the board is off by a number, but sometimes they will not add up, and you really have to take an extra step. Props.cash, StatMuse, whatever you're using, and just double, triple check, because those 5-game logs, if they're misleading, they're leading you in the wrong direction, you know? So definitely just double check that. So looking at Giannis's last 10 games, he has not hit this in 5 straight. Now, he has not been bombing. He just hasn't been hitting. At 50.5, you're getting this at a pretty even split with the odds here. He hit 50 last game. He crushed it. Prior to that, he had 2 monster games against Texas. Just beat the shit out of Texas as a state. San Antonio and Houston were in his path. So 4 out of the last 6 games, 0 of the last 5 games. Maybe this scares you off. Maybe he's due for some positive regression. And maybe you decide to stay away from this line. Totally understand that. When I look at his PRA projection on props.cash, it is set for 48. So we talked about him having good games, but not hitting PRA. It's, again, triple-double is in play for Giannis, and he's still not hit this line. I liked it obviously better at the higher line, but since it got bumped down, it's your call. There are some times where the bumps really don't make that big of a difference, but man, we've all been on that other side of the bump where it makes all the difference. It's a terrible feeling. So at 50.5, you can see that Giannis wasn't hitting that line. His line is 51 on Prizepicks. I got it at 51.5. So it came down. I wouldn't be surprised if this got bumped down to flat 50 at some point. As long as people are hammering the under on this, it's going to keep moving down. So that's what I was looking at for Giannis earlier today. We're going to stay in this game. We're going to talk about Jalen Duran. You wanted to know about his rebounds and assists. We'll look at his rebounds and assists. like a fool. I took his points last game against the Bucks. And it didn't work out. Up and down, up and down. One up, one down. One up, one down. Based off this pattern, you would assume that he goes up today. That's not always the clearest path. When you're looking at your research, like it's like, I don't know, I'm gonna date myself here. Scantrons. I don't know if Scantrons are a thing in school anymore, but Scantron test. There would be some tests like in US history, like a fuck off course, where the teacher was a coach. And we would just write literally abacadabra all the way down. Scan. It's like one up, one down, one up, one down. We were just doing that. And that's how I look at these game logs here. One up, one down, one up, one down. So you're just going in this. If you think the pattern continues, you play the over on this one. Let's dive into it a little bit deeper than that. 50% of his last 10 games, he's gone over. 60% of his last 5 games, he's hit the over on his rebounds and assists. Now, his rebounds and assists on prop.cash are sitting at 13.5, but you know we're getting it at a lower line on Prizepicks. It does not change anything in his 5-game logs. But when we bring this down, just to match, it does change something in his 10 games. So he got 2 games added to the over here. Definitely improves his percentage here, 70. Goes from 50 to 70. Despite his game last time they played where he didn't score enough points, I think he only scored 9 points. I believe he had 9 rebounds and an assist in that game. So it was the Alec Burks, Jaden Ivey show in that game. Didn't really see Alec Burks going for 30 points or almost 30 points in that game. I don't think that's something we can count on happening every single game. At least I hope not, because there are much better players on that team than Alec Burks. I don't want to see Alec Burks lead that team in points. Looking at his projections today, he is projected for 10.7 rebounds, 2.37 assists, for a grand total of 13.13, which is over 12.5. You're getting good projections. You're getting solid game logs over his last 5 and 10. And he's played the Bucks pretty well, okay? When we drop the line to match, he's gone over in 3 out of his last 4 games. Good history versus this team. Jalen Duren is a good player. If you're worried about blowout, if you're worried about them getting the crap kicked out of them, then limit your exposure to the Pistons team or just stay away from them. Jaden Ivey, 30.5, right? Not 31.5. On Prizepicks, we're getting at 30.5 PRA. So we are getting at a lower line. Nope, I lied. It is 31.5. Let's look at it. Let me pull the odds back up so that you can see. Minus 111, minus 115. Pretty much a coin flip here. Not identical, but pretty close. These are all his games against the Milwaukee Bucks. He's gone over this just one time. He didn't go over that line in the last game. I don't know what his line was in the last game. Maybe he went over that line, but the new line at 31.5, he has yet to hit. Over his last 10, you can see kind of a 180 here with his splits, right? First 5 games of this 10-game log, 1 out of 5. The next 5 games, 3 out of 5. So we can say that he has started to turn things around. He's heating up. He's feeling himself, whatever. Milwaukee's defense, we already know they are not the same defense. I feel like they're improving a little bit from like the beginning of the year. I feel like they're an improved defense, but not one of the top regarded defenses in the league yet. Jaden Ivey's PRA is projected for 29. So slightly lower than what you're getting on Prizepicks. If you believe in his upside, you got all the information there. Projections are very close to the line. You can take that risk and say, I can see him definitely getting 3 more PRA. But again, if you're like under the impression that this is a blowout game, then you stay away from the Pistons. All right, so we got 2 Pistons down. We just talked about Giannis. Let's look at Maxi's steals. This was brought up in the chat. All right. Slight juice to the under here, minus compared to the minus 106 to the over. Last 5 games have been very good to Tyrese Maxey. 4 out of the last 5 games, he's gotten you 2 or more. And then over his last 10, he has hit this in 8 out of 10. No, excuse me, 7 out of 10 games. San Antonio's defense is not good. We don't need to go into detail about that, but you can see there's a lot of green on the screen, which is great for the 76ers. Maxey is projected for 1.67 steals. That is 0.17 over his line. That is closer to 2 than it is to 1. He's also projected for a total of 2 steals and blocks. Being that his block projection is below 0.5, that's like damn near 0. So it's almost like this is telling you that he's projected for 2 steals. If you kind of read between the lines, you can kind of figure that out. So this one looks promising for Tyrese Maxey. All right, let's talk Scotty Barnes, Bogdan, Kristaps Porzingis. What's the next game? Toronto and Memphis. All right. Let's talk about Vince Williams. PRA. Damn, Props.cash is on the struggle bus today. I selected 4th quarter PRA and it's showing up as 21. It's showing up as the full game PRA. Listen, if Vince Williams was getting you 21 PRA in the 4th quarter, I mean, I'd be taking the over on his full game. All right. Not sure what's going on there. Anyway, Vince Williams, over his last 10 games, has gone over the 23.5 line 3 times. But remember, this got bumped to 24.5. And if he didn't go over 23, he didn't go over 24. So back-to-back games of subpar performances against Minnesota and Chicago for Vince Williams. 2 out of his last 5, 3 out of his last 10. No projections for Vince Williams today. So we can't look at that with a fine-tooth comb. But we know Toronto's defense is a little better than the league average in a few spots and a little worse than the league average in the other spots. So they're kind of like a balanced middle of the pack kind of defense. They also have a lot of new pieces to that team. I'm sure they're trying to work shit out. But Vince Williams was standing out to me as an under candidate. This is stupid. I don't know why it's not pulling up the information. So they need to respect Vince Williams more and be quicker with his information. But I was just trying to break it down by the quarter to see if there was anything we were missing when looking at this line, but I don't feel like there is. I feel like the line of 24.5 is a little high. It's the highest it's been in the last few games. So whether it's like a dice roll or a risk, it's one that I'm willing to take because of the increased line. Now, once this starts bumping down back to 23.5, I definitely won't be looking to play it at that. I think I got the best line on the day for Vince Williams. Let's talk about Scotty Barnes. We'll talk about Scotty Barnes' points. Where is he? There he is. So Scotty Barnes points sitting at 20.5 over on Prizepicks. Is that right? He only had 9 points against New York. So funny because they moved Pascal out. This is his team. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're moving pieces out to hand him the keys to the car, basically, right? Kicking everybody out the house. This is your house. This is your car. But we haven't really seen that jump with all the pieces, the new pieces in place. It may be taking them some time, but this is what he's done over his last 10. So 2 out of his last 10, you're getting even odds on the number here. Nothing too crazy over under. You know what his upside is. You know what his floor is. Geez, 6 points. So it doesn't look good. But the matchup today with Memphis is about of a get back spot, get right spot, bounce back spot as you can ask for. He is only projected for 19.26, which is roughly a point and some change under his line. Again, we got a favorable matchup with the Grizzlies. This game is in Toronto. This point projection is close enough to his point line to where you can say, hey, I can definitely see him grabbing another 2 points and getting the over on this one. At home, these are his games. He's gone over 60% of his last 10 games at home. Let's take a look at what he's done on the road. Not as good. Not as good. So you have that going for you. If you believe the home road splits are a thing, you got enough information there to support the over. If not, then this looks like a candidate for an under based off his last 10 games and based off his projections. All right, let's talk about Kristaps Porzingis, and I believe that'll round out our first 6 up and 6 down over on Prizepicks. No, sorry, Kristaps and then Bogdan. So Kristaps, we're looking at his 3-pointers made. Oh my God, he had 6 against the Rockets. Damn. That's okay. He's not getting that every game. We know that. He's living in that 2 to 3 range. So there's this 5 games over his last 5 games. He's gone 3 over his last 5 games. Is what I'm trying to say. 4 out of his last 10. He's projected for 2.28 3-pointers made today versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, you can say this is a revenge game. This is a revenge narrative for Kristaps Porzingis. It might be. He does seem like the kind of guy that's like willing to, take a little extra time to twist the knife a little bit more. Like stabbing you isn't good enough. He just needs to twist it. He comes off as that player to me, and he'll do it with a smile. So maybe this game does mean a little bit more to him. Maybe you look at his projection and say he's smashing this today. It's just 2 3-pointers. He's doing it on a consistent basis over his last 5. So there's really not a whole lot to dig into. He's a tough matchup too. There aren't too many guys on the Dallas Mavericks that he can't shoot over. If they bring Derek Lively out to guard him, I still think Kristaps is too skilled. There's a lot going for the over on this one, but I wouldn't just look at his last game and go, oh, he hit 6. He's going to do that again. I don't think he's hitting 6. That's a lot of threes. Okay. Speaking of revenge narrative, we got one here in Atlanta, and we got a couple. In Atlanta and Sacramento. So we got Kevin Huerter taking on his former team in the Atlanta Hawks. And then we got Bogdan taking on his former team in the Sacramento Kings. So Bogdan, his line just got bumped down to 27.5 from 28.5. So a bit more of a favorable line to take the under on, or excuse me, take the over on if you wanted to roll that way, but we were talking about his under. This is what he's done over his last nine games. He has not gone over this line. He hasn't come close. One thing we got to factor in is there is no Trae Young tonight. He is in concussion protocol. So when we take Trae Young out of the mix, this is what he's done. 4 out of the last 10 games. We are going back to last season. There are only 3 games this season to look at. He's gone over one time. His last game without Trae Young, he only put up 21. Miami is a tough defense. Atlanta is not Miami. But Atlanta, you know, I'm sure not going to let him go out there and just like walk all over him. He's only projected for 25 PRA. So that's lower than his line of even 27. So you have a decision to make. If you want to take the under still at his 27, it's a bit riskier because you're getting at a lower line. But it tells you that you're on the right track because the reason it got dropped down is due to everybody taking the over on it. So 27.5 is the new line. It's even money in terms of odds. There's his numbers without Trae Young in the lineup. But revenge narrative. Looking at what he's done against the Sacramento Kings in just 2 games. Went over last year, went under this year. So I'm a little undecided on this one at the lower line, but I think we have enough information to still look at the under. I just personally hate playing the bumps in either direction. It's so frustrating when the line gets bumped down or bumped up, and it kind of throws your process off. 6 up and 6 down. Broke them all down. Hopefully that was a lot of information, enough information for you to make a decision, not dissuade you or persuade you, just support what you're trying to do. Under. All right. If you want to take a look at these 6 plays, there you go. Last time I tried to take screenshots of these plays and throw them in the Discord, and it was a bit of a struggle for me trying to do all 6 in one shot. So I'm just going to do 3 at a time like that. Throw those over in the Discord. That way you can reference what we talked about. All right. We're done. We're done with that round. All right. Headed back to the chat. Welcome in, everybody. If it is your first time here, welcome into the channel. We are talking player props over on Prizepicks. We not only talk about player props, I give my 2 plays out that I like for the day. We've already covered that, but if you are just joining and would like to know what I'm looking at for the day, I will take a minute or 2 to look at that with you and walk you through it very quickly. I'm looking at the under on Vince Williams, 24.5 PRA, and I'm also looking at the under Giannis's line. This one has been bumped down to 51. It was at 51.5, but I like the under on his 51 PRA. We just talked about all the reasons why the under was in play, but because this line got bumped down, if you want to hold off or if you want to see if he keeps getting bumped down, I see the logic in that as well. But these are the 2 plays I already put into a 2-pick power. You can also find my first 2-pick power that I put in late last night in Discord. So those are the 2 plays we talked about already in the stream. So hope you can take something from that. Even if the line is down on Giannis, maybe you're looking at something a little bit more specific, like his points or PR or PA. All right, let's kick it. Let's get this going again. Round 2. Where do we leave off? We left off on we got a lot of Triple J unders in the chat. We got Triple J under his points of 26.5. We got Cutler Stark. Welcome in. Good morning to you. Looking at his under on his 9 rebounds and assists. Remember when we took the under on his RA of 7.5? He went under that. And now we're getting an increased line. Now, Toronto still has not yet shored up. Like, no Siakam, no Podol. They did a better job last game. Well, Hartenstein got hurt, but Julius Randle actually had a triple-double. So, fuck that. I'll take that. I'll retract that statement. They did not do a better job. The only difference is they didn't give up the paint points and paint production to a center. They gave it up to a power forward, which is their most dominant rebounder and paint producer on the Knicks. It's Julius Randle. But the game before that, they let Vooch walk all over him. So I would say keep that in mind with Jaren Jackson. I know he doesn't live in the paint, but if the money's there, I think he's going to take it. If the shot's there, I mean, no one's going to box him out. Like, it's hard. Like, who do they have? Jonte Porter, Thad Young, and they had Scotty Barnes on Vooch, which is a huge mismatch. That was terrible, man. If they're going to be putting Scotty Barnes on a big, it didn't work out last game. All right, so we got the under. We're going to look at the under on Jaren Jackson. Kobe White, AR, assist and rebounds. Why you got to mix up the letters like that, Ramo? I was like, AR, what is that? I've never heard of such tomfoolery. Luka turnovers, all right. Omniscient human, omniscient, the omniscient human. It took me a while to sound that shit out. I had to channel my inner Sesame Street. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. I don't think I've seen you in here before, but welcome, man. Good morning to you. Lopez PR. Let's take a look at Lopez PR. What I'm trying to do is ask to give a shot is if you're posting multiple props in the chat, I'm going to take the first one that I see and just keep finding new ones. If we don't have any new ones, then I'll go back and look at your second or third at the end of the stream. If we got a little time left, then you can like repost the ones that I didn't get to. But I just want to make sure I'm getting at least one player prop from everybody in the chat. That way everybody gets their question answered. Jalen said Stewart over his turnovers, Dame under his blocks and steals, Luka rebounds, LaMelo Ball over. That's a full slip right there. Let's look at Stewart's turnovers. We're heavy on the Pistons today. Let's look at Stewart over on his turnovers. We don't get a lot of turnover props on the stream. We definitely don't want to force plays in, but like I think it's really, really easy also to only focus on like a few player props, like the assists, rebounds, and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, you can find some value in the turnovers, blocks and steals, 3-point attempted, free throws, wherever the value is. We'll try to find it. All right, let's see. We got 4. We need 2 more. Alex Jones, what's going on? Famous name. How we feel about Scotty Barnes today? We just looked at his points. Game logs look nasty, though. I'm not going to lie to you. However, the matchup with the Memphis Grizzlies does offer a ton of upside, and he's at home, which he's kind of crushing it at home. Big difference in splits. So he's definitely a home guy. He will perform better at home. Matchup is there. So it was kind of like difficult to take a definitive stand on either side, but I'm going to lean over on his points just because he's at home and the matchup is good for him today. Let's see. Let's see. ATM. I see your prop there. What's going on, Steven? Good morning to you. AOD, good morning to you. Going 6 for 6. I want to go 2 for 2. I haven't put a 6 pick in there, but yeah. Let's go 2 for 2, 6 for 6. All the perfection today. All right. Chris C. That's my name. Good morning. I'm looking for player props from someone I haven't seen before, or just a new name. Chris, Mike, Malik Beasley over rebounds. Let's take a look at that. All right. 3.5. That's 5. Splash Bandicoot. What's up? What's up? What a name. DeJounte Murray over on assists without Trae Young is always a go for me. I played Murray in my first 2-pick power. I played the over assist on Murray, and I think it got taken off the board, if I'm not mistaken. If it did get put back, it's at 8. So it's at 8. We can still take a look at it because, yeah, he's in a great spot today without. In fact, there was a stat floating around last game. Without Trae Young, DeJounte Murray turns into the full-time ball handler. Pause. The full-time ball handler and an assist machine. His point production kind of goes down. He doesn't have shitty point games, but like his point total last game was 24.5. He finished with 22, 23. So he didn't go over. I think a lot of people were looking for him to go over. Like, he's the man now. It didn't really work out that way. So we could be in a similar spot where maybe we're looking at the under on his points of 24.5. Maybe look the over on his assists. So we got 6 plays here. We like the under on Jaren Jackson. We like the over on Kobe White. The over on Brook Lopez. We like the over on Stewart turnovers. The over on Beasley and the over on DeJounte Murray. All right, round 2. If you missed round 1, we went over 6 player props already. This is our second round. And we're going to break these down over on props.cash. Let's go. Let's go. Kicking it off, looking at Memphis, taking a look at Jaren Jackson. Okay, I was like, am I tripping? He's not on the screen. All right. Three matchups with the Raptors, one this season. He got you 4. That wasn't even a long time ago. I mean, that was a couple weeks ago. So pretty recent game there. Over his last 10, Jaren Jackson. Now he's at 9 on Prizepicks, not 9.5. So this one got bumped down. Minus 135 to the under. It's not going to be minus 135 to the under when we bring this down. I don't know what that changes to, but Jaren Jackson is not in the same spot with that bump down. He is still in a good spot for the under, but let's look at what he's done over his last 10. He's gone over this in 4 out of his last 10. Now, there is a huge difference between the first 5 games of this 10-game breakdown and the last 5 games. You're having this huge swing in hit rate. 3, 4, 5. 1 out of his 5 games, 3 out of his last 5. I mean, kind of a night and day right there with Triple J. Golden State, Chicago, Phoenix. His projection today is 11 on his rebounds and assists. Little contradicting from his previous odds of minus 130, right? When I think of minus 130, I don't think of the over. Minus 130 to the under, I don't think of a player's projections going over. Don't let the projections dissuade you from the information that is across the industry, which are the odds and game logs here. So if you are a believer that he's kind of playing over his head a little bit here, I mean, the under looks fine. However, we just talked about how Toronto has yet to shore up the paint. They're hurting without Siakam. They're hurting without Podol in the lineup. And I know that Triple J is not regarded as a strong rebounder typically. However, there's really nobody there to prevent that from happening. So I'm a little torn on this one. At 9.5, I would see, let's take the under on that because he needs 10. 10 is pretty high rebound and assist line. But at 9, he can easily push this. So I'll let you decide that one. But here's his numbers over his last 10, 5 games, his head-to-head matchups over his last 3 games, 1 game happening this season. And we could take a look at Toronto's defense and his projections all at the same time in the same shot. Here are his projections right there for Triple J. All right. Triple J, Kobe White. I'm trying to see who we can team up in these numbers. No, they're all from different games. All right, let's go. Kobe White, rebounds and assists. Bulls visiting the Phoenix Suns. So Kobe White has gone over in 1 out of his last 2 games. Anything for Kobe White last season, we just throw out the window because he's definitely turned things around in Chicago. He is not the same low usage, low volume player that he was last season. I mean, you can argue and say he's been their top player this season. Over his last 10 games, this is what he's done. He's gone over in 70% of his last 10 games. He hasn't just gone over this line. He's crushed this line. Keep in mind, his line in all these games was not 9.5, 8.5, 7.5 in some of these games. But as he produces, this line will keep creeping up. So it doesn't seem to bother him. He's still hitting. Averaging 9 and 10 over his last 5 and 10. He's projected for 10.21 rebounds and assists versus the Phoenix Suns today. Phoenix defense is, I mean, it's not scary. It's not San Antonio, though. It's like in the middle. Who are some tough defenses he played in this stretch? You got New York. He went over that. You could also look at this and say he's going over because he's playing in these really, soft matchups, like 2 games against Charlotte, Memphis. However, soft matchup against the Spurs, he didn't go over. So I think this is more of a reflection over his talent and his opportunities than it is matchup. I think the over on his 9.5 is good. Even though you're not getting like definitive over odds here, I think it's good. All right, Kobe White. Let's talk about Brook Lopez. PR. We'll go Stewart, Beasley, and Murray. Brook Lopez, PR. Milwaukee taking on Detroit. Oh, actually, we can't talk about Stewart and Lopez. They're in the same game. All right, perfect. Perfect. And Beasley. Fuck. There you go. 3 players in the same game. All right, we're going to zoom through this. Welcome in, everybody. If you're just joining the stream, welcome. Engage in the chat. Hit that like button on your way in. Truly appreciate it. Points and rebounds for Brook Lopez. All right. He destroyed this game. Destroyed this line last game at 29 points and rebounds. He's gone over this in 3 of his last 5. He's gone over in 5 of his last 10. Projected for 21.21 points and rebounds today versus the Detroit Pistons. So we got, Lopez in a good spot against the Pistons. Now, if you're it's very easy to look at the last game against the same team and say that's what he'll do again. Keep in mind, every game is different. Even if it is against the same team, you don't always get duplicate results. But we are getting good odds. The matchup is there. We know that. These 2 games are very close, right? He hooked it. He needed 20. He got you 19. So, I mean, these are very, very close to going over. So we can even look at these 3 games and say, yeah, he got the over. But, man, this could easily be 4 out of his last 5, 5 out of his last 6. very easily with one more. And who knows? And maybe in one of those games he did get the over, but then the stat corrections. Have y'all noticed how bad these stat corrections are lately? I mean, taking an assist away, taking a steal away, that shit's getting out of hand. So maybe he got robbed in those games. We do know his PRA is projected well. We do know his PR is projected well. It was a good line. I don't see any problem taking the over on this one. I really don't. All right, let's look at Isaiah Stewart turnovers. Missed last game, didn't play. He's back. He's back, and we're looking for him to fail with turnovers today. So, minus 142 on the under. Heavy juice on the under. So, basically, this is saying we don't see him turning the ball over 2 times today. Over his last 10 games, he's gone over 60%. Same with his last 5. Turnovers for Stewart. He's projected for 1.39. It's closer to the 1 than it is the 2. I'm curious. Okay, so if Stewart has a good scoring game today, that means the ball is in his hands a lot. He's taking more shots. He's whatever. It looks like the games where he is turning the ball over, he's getting more shot opportunities. He's definitely scoring more. And I think those two things kind of go hand in hand. We talk about the higher your usage goes, or the more your usage goes up, the higher your turnovers go up, or more your turnovers go up. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Usage equals turnovers. We talk about that, but we usually talk about that with really high usage players. De'Aaron Fox, SGA, even like Devin Booker, Luka, Giannis. So we don't typically talk about Isaiah Stewart being a high usage player, but in these games, it looks as though he was. And in these other games where he didn't score a lot, I mean, he still turned the ball over 2 times in a couple of these games. So, but I don't think this is a coincidence. Turned the ball over more in these games because he was scoring more. If the ball's in his hands this game and he's looking to take shots and score points, I could definitely see him going over this. But the books don't agree with the game logs here. So you got a decision to make. You want to go with the odds, or you want to go against the odds and look at the game logs and look at the last 3 games where he's turned the ball over a total of 8 times for Isaiah Stewart. All right, let's take a look at Malik Beasley's rebounds today. In the same game, sitting at 3.5. He's gone over this in 5 straight games. Then he had a snag against the Pistons. On the season, Malik Beasley is averaging 4 rebounds per game. He is capable of reeling off quite a few games with consecutive overs here. There's 2, there's 3, there's 3, there's 5, there's 2, there's 5. Typically takes him 1 to 3 games to get back on track. 3 games, he got back on track. 2, got back on track the next game, got back on track the next game, 2 games, 2 games, 3 and 1. 80% hit rate over his last 5, 60 over his last 10, and he is projected for only 3.37 rebounds today. So that puts him below his 3.5 line. These projections do match the odds. So if you are a believer in those 2 pieces of data, then the under looks like a good bet for you. If you are a believer in positive regression, then the over is in play because he's averaging the over across the whole season. So there's Malik Beasley's rebounds. Headed back over to Prizepicks. This is what we covered in this round, this grouping of players. So we're going to look at Jaren Jackson's under, but they're sitting at a flat number now. And just keep in mind that Toronto, they don't really have a big body right now. You got Kobe White over his 9.5 rebounds and assists. I like that one. And then Lopez over his 19 points and rebounds. The next three we talked about were Isaiah Stewart turnovers. I think, oh, my bad. Real quick. Before we move on, let's pull up DeJounte Murray's assist. All right, so his assist got bumped up from 7.5 to 8. Now on the season, he's only averaging 5, but on the season, he's playing with Trae Young more games than not. Let's take Trae Young out of this and let's see what that looks like as a whole. Taking Trae Young out of the lineup. Oh, look at all that green. So he's only played in 3 games without Trae Young. 2 games being this season. That's it? So 2 games against Trae Young or without Trae Young, he's gone over averaging 10 assists in those games, 9 and 11. That's all we got to go. Well, excuse me. There we go. What was I looking at? What the fuck was that? Why was it only showing 3 games? Edit that shit out. Over his last 10 games without Trae Young. See, without Trae Young right here, last 10 games, I don't know, props.cash, didn't take his medication this morning. 80% hit rate in 10 games played without Trae Young. Now, not all of these are from this season, but it's okay because we're still looking at just a sample size here. We want to get an idea of what he can do without this dude in the lineup. Think he was a San Antonio Spur here. Maybe I'm wrong. Hawk. So definitely from this Milwaukee game on, he's a Hawk. 5 straight games without Trae Young in the lineup. He's giving you this. So his assists were looking really good. Minus 154 to the over on those odds. Now, this one's been bumped up to 8. Now, I don't like playing the bumps at all. But I think sometimes you can get away with it, especially when you have a situation where a player is out and you know that the usage is going to be funneled through X player. And that X player today is DeJounte Murray. So I still think his 8 assists are in play. The 7.5 line was the best line you'll see all day long. If you can find this at 7.5 on another pick'em site, take the over. But at 8 on Prizepicks, I still think you're getting a pretty good line here. So that's like a line that I still don't mind taking the over on. All right, so we like the over on DeJounte. We like the over on Malik Beasley. Looking for him to get back on track with his rebounds because he's averaging 4 on the season. Stewart, we're going to go over on turnovers today, although we do have enough information to make a case for the under. And then we already went through those 3. So those are our 6 we talked about in this round of player props. 6 up, 6 down. Took screenshots already. I'll be posting all these screenshots in the Discord so you can reference them once the stream is over and take a look at everything that we talked about in today's live stream. We're going to clear this out. Welcome in, everybody. If you're just joining the stream, we've gone through 12 player props. We've gone through my 2 picks for the day. We've recapped plays, talked about our bankroll builder that starts today. We're looking to make money and keep money, not give it away. A lot of good stuff in today's stream. Hit that like button on your way in. Truly helps the channel grow every single day. Is it only 3 games without Trae? Are okay? Three games this season. Yeah, 3 games this season. But that image was showing like all his games, I guess, over the last couple of years. Yeah. Yeah, Murray is the man. When damn, his shit got bumped up to 8.5. Really? Nah. Really? Nah. Nope. I don't know what's going on. Murray's still at 8 assists. Marcus, what's going on? Welcome in. If you've been here before, I apologize, but I think this is your first time checking out the stream. Appreciate that. Really do. He wants to look at Embiid under 18.5 RA. Yeah. Should be, from a ratings perspective, this should be a great game for the NBA. Old Lion against new Lion. Teacher against student. But Embiid is just on another level right now. Although yesterday, Jokic looked like he just decided to just take that game into his own hands. Like, and when we went like a whole bunch of games without Jokic looking to score in the first half, he had like 15 in the first quarter. That was fun. That was fun to watch. All right, we can start going back up into the comments again. I think I've gotten to many people's DeJounte Murray at 5.5 assists. No, he's not. He's at 8. Where's he at 5.5 assists? First quarter assist? First half assist? What's going on, Roy? Yes, sir. 713G. Wemby over 0.5 steals or 3.5 blocks and steals. If you're getting DeJounte Murray over 5.5 assists full game, take it. But where are you seeing that? Because I got him literally pulled up on the screen at 8. It's definitely not on Prizepicks. All right, we're looking at Wemby over. We'll put his blocks and steals on the screen, but then we'll look at his like steals and blocks as single stats. Ooh, I'm just scrolling up. We got Rainbow asking about Nick Batum, RA. Rain and Vic, Cat over 8.5 rebounds. All right, cool. There's a new one. And I don't think I have taken a player prop from you yet. So there you go. We got Cat on the board. Said Cal, what's going on? Yeah, we'll look at Embiid's rebounds because we got his rebounds and assists pulled up, but we'll look at his rebounds also at the same time. That's not an issue at all. I tell you what, we're at a point in the stream right now where what we can start doing is, as I'm putting plays on the board, we are going to look at multiple player props for these players. So just what I have on the board is a starting point. Like, we're not going to look at DeJounte Murray again. We already looked at him. But like Embiid will run through his rebounds, points and assists, all that shit. And that way, like if you have any questions about that, you'll get it answered all in the same all in the same view. Keegan Murray over points. I saw that one yesterday when all the props started getting put on the board at 18 now. Oh, you know I love me a good first half player prop, Jesus. Looking at Jaden McDaniels over 14 points. Fantasy points? I don't see him on Prizepicks. He got his points, rebounds, and assists at 8.5. He may have been taken away if it was that good of a prop. He may have been pulled off the board. So unfortunately, we can't take a look at Jaden McDaniels. Maybe look at his full game fantasy. He'll piece it together. He'll manufacture like a good 21, 22 fantasy point game. Little of this, little of that kind of player. Sabonis under 21 RA. Cash me out. I don't think cash me out is in the chat, but cash me out last game took the under on Sabonis's RA full game. Said he put 350 on it. He was that confident in the under, and it went under. I think it was at 22 though, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he only got 21 in that game, so he went under this line. Let's see. Oh, Rain and Vic, you're on Boom Fantasy, and they have DeJounte Murray's assist at 5.5. Oof. That's an oops on them. Take it. Yeah, take it. I'm over here trying to make a case for his 8 assists. If you're getting it any lower than that, I think that's a really good play. All right, I think we got enough to head on over to props.cash, start breaking these down. Y'all being here. Thank y'all for the stream, being engaging, participating in the chat. Makes it fun for me. Hope it makes it fun for y'all, and I hope as we're going through all these player props, you're taking mental notes. Maybe there's a player that you weren't even looking at, and now you are, or you were undecided on, and now you're not going to play them based off what we're talking about. So hopefully this helps you out in many ways. All right, here we go. We're going to kick things off. We're going to kick things off with Joel Embiid. So remember, this round, we're going to go through, a few player props for each player. And that way, we'll cover multiple lines that way. So let's start with Embiid points. If anybody's interested in Joel Embiid's points, he's sitting at 34.5 over on props.cash. Any lower than this, I think that's a great line to take the over on if you're getting it at 33.5 or 33, which I can't see it being that low, but at 33.5, maybe 34, getting favorable odds to the 34.5. So again, any lower than this, the odds go up in favor of the over. 3 out of his last 5 games, and he's gone over in 6 out of his last 10. Really, we got to look at this in a different view because he was injured for a great deal of time. So there's a huge gap in between each block of games. This is what he's done most recently, averaging 36 in 5 games. Projected for 34.71. So this is slightly over his line. So again, this makes the over look even better if you're getting it at a lower line anywhere else for Joel Embiid. Looking at his rebounds, you can take a look at those. He's set at 12.5. Hasn't been grabbing as many boards over his last 5 games. Does that change tonight versus the Spurs? He's had some pretty tough matchups in there. Look, New York is a sticky defense. You got size in the front court in Houston with Sengun and Eason, and I mean, Ime is a great is a great fit for that team. I mean, the defensive strategy in Houston is so different than it was last season. They're not a cake matchup anymore. Embiid was too busy dropping 80 points against Denver. Orlando, another ugly team to play against that just drains the upside out of fantasy points and things. And then Charlotte, maybe priority for Embiid this season isn't grabbing 13, 14 rebounds. So this could be a candidate for an under, even against a Spurs team that is averaging bottom of the league in rebounds allowed, but he's only projected for 10. So that could be a sneaky under if you want to roll the dice on that one. Assists have been very sneaky for Embiid, but over the last 2 games, he hasn't come close to hitting that. His full game PRA could be a little scary if 76ers come out and handle business in this game. Is he needed in the second half? We've seen Embiid turn it up even more in the second half. So it's not a slam dunk that if the 76ers are up 20 at the half, that Embiid doesn't play his full run. We've seen him play in games that aren't even close. Let's look at Embiid's points and assists. So with his points and assists, that's a high as number, 40.5. I don't know if it's at 40.5 on Prizepicks, but that's a lot. He has gone over it. Back-to-back games, he has not gone over it. Points and rebounds for Embiid. Again, his rebounds are a little down right now. So if you're taking the over on points and rebounds, you are expecting a higher output of points to supplement the lower line of rebounds he's getting you. Rebounds and assists. So we're looking at the under on his rebounds and assists. 5 straight games of going under here. His rebounds and assists over on Prizepicks are currently at 18.5. This is the highest it'll be all day. It's matching all the other sports books. So this one might come down to 18.5. Now he needs 19 points. He needs 19 rebounds and assists. He's gotten you 19 or more in 3 games out of the last 10, 0 out of the last 5. He is only projected for 15 today. And that honestly sounds about right. 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Give him an extra one. 11 rebounds and 5 assists. 11 rebounds and 6 assists. It's a hell of a good game. It's just not 19. So there's a lot of information here for you if you want to take the under. There's a lot of supporting information for Joel Embiid. So we just covered 5 player props for Joel Embiid. Looking at the under, we're going to stick in the same game. We're going to take a look at Victor Wembanyama's blocks and steals and all sorts of fun shit for him. I pray that the Spurs don't get beat up too badly, because I really want to see Victor play a full run of minutes here. And B, I hope Pop, if this game is relatively close, allows him to play over his 24 minutes he's been seeing, 25 minutes. What is his restriction? Oh shit. Okay, so over the last 3 games, he's actually averaging 27 minutes. So he's creeping up. I hope he gets 27 minutes today or more. So looking at the over on his blocks and steals, this is at 3.5. You're getting favorable odds to the over because of these types of numbers. He's doubling up his prop in every game he goes over. It's hard to say don't expect this in every game from him, because he actually does this in like almost every game. One of the exceptions we can make in terms of looking at somebody's line and say, well, he's not going to do that every game. Like, he is actually doing that every game. Every time he goes over, he's getting you 6 and 7. His steals alone really aren't what's getting that line up there. It's his blocks. Like, he's going over blocks and steals on just blocks alone. That's cool. Does he do it against the 76ers? I don't know. The book say he does. Looking at his projections today, he's projected for 3.39 steals and blocks, 2.64 blocks, He's actually projected for really good lines here. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of rebounds. 38 PRA for Wembanyama. It's actually fun taking the over on his steals and blocks. Steals and blocks are a little risky, but it's fun taking the over on his steals and blocks because he does it in such a convincing fashion. It's like highlight reel type shit. So it's fun for you because you're getting the over on it, but it's actually fun to watch him do it because, you know, he's like a pterodactyl out there. So I like the over on both of those blocks and steals and blocks for him. All right, let's move on to, I believe the next one was Karl Anthony Town rebounds. Let's take a look at him. We don't get too many Karl Anthony Town questions. Rebounds sitting at 8.5. These are like right down the middle with these odds. There's nothing like convincing you to take either side. It looks like he has like every 4 games, every 5 games he goes over. Like that's kind of what I'm seeing here. On the season, he's averaging 8.9 rebounds, which is slightly over his line today. Lately, his rebounds have been really low. I mean, there's a lot of games in between these overs. I mean, 3 games, 5 games, 4 games. Charlotte's defense is trash, though. And I think we need to remember that they will give up quite a few boards in a game. Didn't Daniel Gafford have like 40 rebounds in a game versus Charlotte? Let's find out. It doesn't go back that far. 10 for Embiid, 10 for Adebayo, 10 for Lynn, Alex Lynn, okay? Domantas Sabonis, 10 for Vooch, 15 for Drummond, 10 for Drummond, 19 for Sabonis, 11 for Jokic. These are centers. Power forwards, you're just not going to see as high prop for power forwards, but the last 3 have gone over. 11 for Wembanyama. So they are giving up a lot of production to centers. Projections for Karl Anthony Towns today, they're sitting a little below the 8.5. So projections do not like the over. Looking at his last 10 one more time. Looking at his last 5, 1 out of his last 5 games for Karl Anthony Towns. So got a little bit to think about here. If you want to take advantage and exploit this matchup with Charlotte's defense, who will give up a lot of production in terms of rebounds, you got a lot to work with there. If you're looking at the odds and not really sold on the odds and you see the projections and it kind of steers you away, if you just leave this one alone, I think you're okay. So this one's kind of a coin flip for me, to be honest. All right. Moving on from Karl Anthony Towns, we did Embiid's props, Wemby's props. We just talked about Karl Anthony Towns. We got Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis. Last game of the night, Atlanta and Sacramento. Looking at the under on Sabonis' rebounds and assists. 2 out of his last 5 games, he's gone over this. He hooked it in this game versus Indiana. So we're kind of getting a 180 here with his line. First block of games, 80% hit rate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 out of his last 5 games. And then his last 5 games, only a 40% hit rate in 2 out of those 5 games. So kind of a really, opposite result thing going on there. Looking at his RA for today, he is projected for 20 rebounds and assists. So that is not going to get the over for us today. Although the odds are in favor of the over, Atlanta's defense is in favor of the over as they're allowing 45 rebounds per game and dead last or second to dead last in assists allowed per game. So, Sabonis is the leading. He is the point guard on this team in terms of ball distribution. That's what he does. So this looks good for him, although the projections don't line up. So honestly, in this situation, Um, 22 is really high though. 22 is really high, but even at home, you're not really seeing a huge difference in like overs. They're just kind of like scattered around differently. 50% hit rate going over this at home. Damn. This is, for me, this is like a tough one to take the under on. I'll be honest with you, but I would throw this in a flex play and take the under on it in a flex play. Sabonis has just burned me too many times when I take the under on his shit in a power play. So I would throw this in a flex play. But if you're very confident in the under, I salute you. Keegan Murray. Point prop was set to 17.5, has been bumped up to 18. Sitting at 18.5 on other books. So this one will get bumped up one more time. If you like the over at 17.5, we are at the next best line at 18. I say you like the over at 18 because it's not going to get any lower, or you stay away. But over his last 10 games, he's gone over this in 60%. Struggling a little bit in the last 5 games, going over in just 2 of those 5 games. His projections do not support the over, sitting at 17 points today. I don't know if he has a 3-point line up on Prizepicks, but it's sitting at 2.5. Minus 132 to the over, which are really favorable lines here. Despite what you're seeing over his last 5, the odds are telling you that this isn't play. Only projected for 2 made, though. Sometimes the projections don't line up with the odds, and that's fine. Anybody can make projections. I mean, the odds are a little bit more universal. That's what's across the industry. That's what sports books and pick'em sites are like putting up. Projections can be, hit or miss because it's a little bit more subjective. But again, if you like the over on his 17.5, then you probably like the over on his 18, being that this is still a lower line than what books are giving you. And if we just drop this down to 18, it looks a little better. At 17.5, it looked a lot better because that turns into a pretty strong 5 games there where he's gone over in 60%. But this goes down to 50% because you got 2 over, 2 under, and then that push, we can just push it aside for Keegan Murray. All right. So this is what we had so far in that last block. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. All right. Embiid under, Wemby over. I got Karl Anthony Towns going under just based off what I saw. That's just, I gotta pick something. I'm gonna go over on Keegan Murray's points, and I'm gonna go son of a bitch. I'm gonna go under on Sabonis. I always just feel so wrong, like stealing Girl Scout cookies or something. Like it just feels wrong to take the under on Sabonis, but you're just going with the data. You're just reading the data. That's all you're doing on this one. All right. We are at the point in the live stream where I think we've gotten through the majority of questions in the chat, at least a great deal of them. And let's see. Cutler Stark says, even more of a lock for Sabonis under 9 assists. Centers versus Capella haven't hit 10 assists since last season. Nice. If you need a little bit more supporting information for that under, there you go. Right there. Quickly over PA. D-Cam, what's going on? Welcome into the stream. Don't believe I've seen you before. let's look at some free throw for Bojan and Tobias. We can pull that up. Hit that like button on your way in. If you're just joining the stream, we got about 10 minutes left in this stream. We start at 9 a.m. Typically go anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours on these live streams, answering as many player props as I can possibly fit into that time frame. I give out my 2 plays for the day. I've done that already. Before this live stream ends, I'll bring those back on the screen, let you know. You can also check out my plays in the Discord, where I post my plays before I go on stream to all the Discord members. So we got Bojan over free throws made and Tobias over free throws made at 3. Emmanuel quickly over PA. All right. Real quick. I liked it better at 32.5. RJ Barrett, PRA. I was curious to see if they bumped it back up. All right. It was that good, Toy Story. It was that good of a prop. They were like, hell no. Did you see what he did last game? I actually played the under on Giannis's PRA at 51.5. It's been bumped down to 51. So I'm glad I got it in before the bump. Julian Champagne. This kid is, I feel like every year there's like a different Spur player that kind of grabs our attention. Obviously, Wembanyama, but that's not even like, that was a given. But I think last year it was a combination of Malachi Branham and Jeremy Sohan. And this year, it's this kid, Julius Champagne. So we'll take a look at his PR. Like the fantasy score too? Take a look at that. All right. Damn. Triple J's first points are at 8. That's a lot. I mean, he is like their number one option now, but shit. Divine says Fox points, Jaylen Brown points, Anthony Edwards points, Tatum RA. Out of those two, let's do I only can fit one more on the screen though, but let's look at we'll take the first two, man. We'll look at Fox points and Jaylen Brown points. Let's see if I could put Jaylen Brown on the screen. Never mind. Because he is not on the board. Fox. 27.5. Okay, skip Jaylen. We'll go Edwards points. $26.5. All right. Well, we'll come back. We'll take him with us. Is what I'm trying to say. All right. This might be the last round of player props as we get closer to finishing time, closing time on the stream. Appreciate you all being here. If you haven't hit that like button yet, now's a great time to do it. We just so happen to be on the Atlanta Kings game. Let's take a look at De'Aaron Fox points. I wish it was at 18. Let's take a look at his points. Sitting at 27.5. He's gone under this in his last 4 home games. If you are not a home road splits, let's take it off. So over his last 5 games, he's gone over this in 2 games. Looking at his last 10, he's gone over this in 3 of his last 10. Even money on the odds here. Even money on the odds here. Down the middle. Atlanta's defense is all green, which is great for De'Aaron Fox. Projected for 25 points today. I'm not getting a whole lot of favorites or not getting a whole lot of positive numbers here that support overs. I mean, with De'Aaron Fox, it's always scary taking unders on him because we know that he's so explosive and he can just reel off 15 fourth quarter points and that's it. It's a wrap. But I mean, I would expect DeJounte Murray to be playing defense on De'Aaron Fox today. That's not fun. Just some things to think about. I know this is a coin flip here. The books don't even know what to do with this one. If this one gets bumped down to 27, you'll see these lines shift. I can't see it going over. I don't think the public knows what to do with this one. We would see better odds if they did. Man, honestly, I don't really have a take on this one just because I'm not really seeing a whole lot that I like. On the road, slightly better. Yeah. De'Aaron Fox's points. Maybe they're set a little too high for this matchup. Or maybe not. But if you just put a water gun to my head, I'd say under. Like if I had to make a decision right now, I say under. Just based off what I'm seeing, because it doesn't look good. His projections don't look good either. All right, let's free throws. Let's look at some free throws made. So Bojan free throws. So we're gonna have to scroll down here because free throws made is not an actual stat tracked. However, we can look at the game logs for each player. They're just buried underneath all this other data on the screen. All right, so over his last 5 games, you can see that Bojan has made 6, 3, 0, and 2. So this is trending upwards. He did have 6 out of 8 made last game out versus the Bucks on Saturday. His line is set to 2.5. Is that correct? So he's gone over 2.5 in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of his last 10 games, 2 out of his last 5. I don't mind that one. I mean, without Cade, isn't he their best shooter? Cade, Burks, and Ivy. I think Ivy's your best playmaker right now without Cade. But Bojan can light it up. Or Bogdan can light it up. Bojan. Just a lot of Bogdanoviches. So I don't mind this. I don't mind 2.5 free throws. Yeah, I think that one's pretty sharp. Let's take a look at Tobias Harris free throws and see what those look like. So his free throws are sitting at 3. 6 out of 7, 5 out of 5, 6 out of 6, 6 out of 6, 7 out of 7. The dude doesn't miss. He's only gone 1 game where he didn't get you more than 3 out of the last 6 games. This looks good at 3. Now he does need 4. He does need 4 to go over this one. So just keep that in mind. He needs 4. So he's gotten you 4 in 3 straight games. Free throws are always interesting to me because you definitely need a lot of things to go your way, right? First, if you need them to drive and get fouled or get fouled on a three, like, you know, it's almost like you just have to have like a lot of things go right, you know. Handsy defenses that try to swipe the ball, they don't shuffle their feet, they try to get in front of, like, you know, you need a lot of things to work in your favor. Or he can shoot 2 threes and get fouled on both of them and knock down free throws like that. And the way they're calling fouls now, it's not always like a sure thing. It's not the James Harden era anymore. But this looks great in terms of his game log here. It looks good. Yeah, I think those are pretty interesting and sharp finds. Free throws made. You can find good value in those if you dig a little bit. Let's take a look at Emmanuel quickly. Actually, no. Let's take a look at Julian Champagny. PR. He's been a PR wagon, not public relations wagon. Although he might be good at that too. I don't know what he went to school for. I don't know what he majored in. But in terms of points and rebounds, he's gone over this in 6 straight. 10.5 points and rebounds for him. Okay odds, not great. The matchup is not good either. Neither was the Boston matchup. Neither was the Chicago matchup. He's projected for 12.31. This is such a low line for him. I think his line is matchup proof. I don't think his line is set too high, and I don't think it really matters who he's playing. It's like, oh, they're playing the 76ers and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's not guarding this dude. Joel Embiid is not worried about him. You think Tobias Harris is on him or he locks him down? I mean, I don't know, but 10.5 is a little low, and I feel like he can kind of just chip away at this throughout the game. If you're looking at his fantasy score, he does need steals and blocks. Well, it does help if he gets steals and blocks. He's been really helped out over the last couple of games, grabbing you 2 steals and blocks in back-to-back games. The matchups were great, though. 2 weak opponents. Even if he gets you 1 steal and block, that's 3 points. If he goes out there and scores 6 points, I mean, look, he's scoring tons of points. I mean, in terms of what his rebounds and points are. But let's say he goes out there and gets you 7 points. That's 10. And then he goes out there and grabs you 3 rebounds. That's 13.6. And he gets you 1 assist. That's 15.1. But he does turn the ball over quite a bit. So even I was just trying to take a conservative approach with the fantasy score. So he would need to score you at least 9 points to make up for those turnovers. So 9 points plus the steal or block, that's 12. He goes out and gets you, again, I'm being conservative here, 3 rebounds. That's 15.6 plus the assist. That's 17.1 minus 2 turnovers. That's 15. We just broke down his fantasy score in a very conservative way, and we went over because it's very possible for him to get you 10 points and 4 rebounds. That's very much in play. So I think this is great. Points and rebounds look good for him, as does his fantasy score. So there's Julian Champagny. And that's going to do it for this round of player props. And I think that's going to do it for today's stream. We like the over on Bojan and Tobias Harris. Actually, my bad, Divine. I wanted to look at Anthony Edwards' points because Jaylen Brown's ass wasn't on the screen or on the board. Let's look at Anthony Edwards' points today versus Charlotte, sitting at 27.5. It is a little high. 27 points is high. I know the matchup is good for him. 26, actually. Let's bring it down. When we bring it down, he's gone over in 3 out of his last 5. He's gone over in 6 out of his last 10. So 60 and 60% hit rate over those games. He is projected for 26 points. Man, I can see the Timberwolves just kicking the shit out of the Charlotte Hornets and his upside being limited due to blowout. But fourth quarter production for Edwards, when needed, he is there. Like State Farm. Minutes, though. Minutes are key. So Anthony Edwards is averaging 6 minutes over his last 10 games. The matchup is really good, though. It's too good, though. It is a little scary to think that maybe he doesn't get full run in the fourth quarter. But it's not 27 and a half anymore. It's 26. So he does need 27 to get over this. In a game like this, you really do want the Charlotte Hornets to be able to keep this one somewhat close. Like going into the fourth quarter, they're down by like 12 or something like that. That would be great. And if the bench can keep him in, Edwards is going to have to, produce. The worst thing is if this game is over by the third quarter, because I don't see him playing more than 6 minutes in the fourth. But damn, this is a really good matchup for him. It's a really good matchup. All right. We went through 4 rounds of player props. We went through a lot of different types of player props. We covered a lot on the stream. If you're just joining the stream, we're about to end the stream. Sorry. We start at 9 a.m. We usually go for an hour to 2 hours each weekday. I did go over my 2 plays for today. If you one more time have not seen those or you want to see them again, I like the under on Vince Williams Jr., 24.5 PRA. And I also liked the under on Giannis's PRA at 51.5. This one has been bumped down to 51. I can definitely see this one bump and settling in at the 50.5 mark. But I liked it at 51.5 for the under. Broke them down, told you why. So these are the 2 plays I'm rolling with. I also posted a 2-pick power in the Discord and I try to get at least one more slip in my Discord, a flex play. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's stream. Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate the increased views. Over the last few streams, I've seen more views on the stream and I've seen way more engagement in the chat. So I really want to say thank you to you for making that happen and it just being more fun. When you guys are talking to me, it's fun. So listen, brand new week, brand new plays, brand new games. We're starting our bankroll to build up. We're trying to limit the amount of times we deposit. We want to go 0 deposits over the next 30 days. We want to take money out and we want to keep growing our money and keep taking it out, using it to our advantage. We'll keep talking about the bankroll builder this week in every stream, just making sure you are up to date on what those guidelines are. But that's going to do it. All information, all promo, all partnership information is in the stream description. Be sure to check that out if you want to save money on any promos or sites that I use, and Discord link is in there as well. Best of luck to you all. I wish you the best of luck. I hope all your player props hit. I hope they all respect the damn coin. And until tomorrow's live stream, 9 a.m. live stream, Chavez is